All right. Well, down we go. And I'll open the door.
You open the door. You see no traps, which is good, because there were no traps the last time you were here.
It wouldn't be a very good trap if you could just see it.
I make sure to point this out to the party. There are no traps. It is safe to proceed.
That's a bold assertion.
I enter.
Alright. You descend the stairs. Now, not everyone has dark vision, so what are you guys doing for light? Or are you just conga lining behind the dark vision guy?
That doesn't sound safe. We will definitely fall like dominoes down the stairs.
That sounds efficient, at least.
It does. I mean, we get down there faster.
HP is just a resource, as is time. Weigh them carefully.
We would just have to... Yeah, we just have to spend a few hours dead at the bottom.
If you're not conscious for them, it won't seem like much of a sacrifice at all.
If you are to do this plan, I will stay behind until you are done and then proceed.
No, I think I'll light a torch.
The torch whumps a light, and you descend. At the bottom, you encounter the chamber, which had been full of gargoyles once upon a time, before you dismantled them. There is no gargoyle debris upon the floor. There is no pile of concrete and gargoyle limbs next to the door at the far side of this chamber. All of you distinctly remember those things having been there the last time you were down here. It is nice and neat and clean in this room. There are dismantled statues still standing on their plinths, but the parts that have been dismembered are gone. The altar that was in the middle of the room still remains. There is not a speck of blood on the floor.
I forget, did we put the glowing gem inside one of the gargoyles, or did we bring it with us?
We brought it with us, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember you guys actually using it on a gargoyle.
Right. Ivor had the flash of memory and remembered that that's how we used them, but I don't think we actually did use them yet.
Right. You could have put it in an already living dude's chest and see if it gives him another personality, but none of you felt like it, so you didn't.
Terrible.
So what do you do faced with this clean, pristine chamber?
Well, we could always sacrifice Slash again.
Slash does walk up to the altar and looks down at it, then looks back at you guys.
I think he wants us to.
I'd prefer if you didn't, he says.
So do it then.
Well,
But
why
I'm
does he
willing.
talk like that?
Because I don't know what his voice is. I prefer if you didn't, but I'm willing to go along with whatever plan is necessary for the survival of our plan. He puts the rock down on the altar.
Slash is getting creepier by the second.
Perhaps we shouldn't have sacrificed him. May have contributed to the creepiness.
He lost so much blood he gained a whole new personality.
Slash is going to make a perception roll real quick. Interesting. What did the rest of you guys do?
Well, lacking a map, I don't remember what the layout as far as doors and whatnot.
Wendelorn's going to wander back into the room with the coffins and see if that's changed at all.
Alright. This circle I'm drawing intersecting the left wall is the stairway you guys came down.
Okay.
And there's an altar in the middle of the room, then there was a doorway separating this from the crypt room. And there was like a sarcophagus in the far wall of the crypt room.
We didn't go through that, correct?
Correct.
We should probably do that.
Wendellorn, can you please give me a perception roll?
I'm gonna follow him into that room.
Okay. And Worm, can you please give me a perception roll? Okay. So you see this long skeletal arm drape out of one of the many coffins and sarcophagi that are scattered around the room, and it reaches out and grabs the hem of Wendellorn's pants. And
Does he notice this?
well, he notices it after it happens. And I guess you also notice. And a thin voice comes from inside the coffin. They're back. Yes, they could not keep themselves away for long. Wendellorn, the arm does not, stab you with its bony fingers. It's just kind of grabbing onto your pants. It's perhaps 10 feet long and, just leads into a coffin.
The arm is 10 feet long?
Yes, it's segmented many times over.
Of course it is.
He's going to look at it somewhat puzzled and attempt to jerk his pant leg free.
It jerks free easily.
Do you want to look at what it's attached to? Because I kind of don't.
No, he's going to continue on to where the big sarcophagus was, where he punched the hole in the back of it last time.
The arm retracts into the coffin. In the back. What's that?
I just like a snake, I guess.
Yeah.
Gross.
The sarcophagus still has the hole in the back, and there is utter blackness on the other side of it. There is no sign of the various dismembered bones of the corpse of the thing that was in the sarcophagus. I seem to remember there being some bones in addition to the dust that it turned into. Maybe not.
And nothing else, as I recall. My dark vision does not see into that darkness.
It does not. Do you have the ability to see into magical darkness?
No, that's why I asked.
Well, there we go.
This is not the coffin that's in the wall, right?
This is the coffin that's in the
That's like embedded in the wall.
If this is the one, then you can't see through it. There is another coffin that has the hole in the bottom of it, and that's where people came out when they came from being pulled through the floor. That one you can see down through fine.
Yeah, no, I'm looking through the one that was vertical on the back wall that the nasty thing came out of.
I hadn't remembered you punching a hole in it.
There was a hole punched in the back of it, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go peek in the coffin that the snake arm came out of.
You peek in, and there is a coiled up skeletal arm with a looks like a human skull kind of nestled in it. Yes.
Right when you started saying that, Stephanie dropped from the call. Now she's back.
Discord disappeared and then came back.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have a peek in the coffin that the snake arm came out of.
Okay. You look in and you see a probably 20-foot long skeletal arm coiled up. And there's a little human head with no flesh or nothing, just kind of nestled in the middle of it.
Taylor.
It pounces. Sorry, it pounces at you. Please make me a dexterity saving throw.
I'm pretty.
Being a worm,
Apparently.
you know snakes. You throw yourself back, and it unravels itself directly above you, flying past you and landing on the stone floor. There's a not terribly nice screeching sound as it retracts itself back into the coffin, but it drags its bony fingernails across the floor as it does so, in an attempt to intimidate you.
Am I intimidated?
Can you make me a charisma saving throw, please? I don't think you're going to be intimidated.
Wait, a snake is just a worm with eyes.
And this one don't even have any eyes.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a horrific screeching sound, but it ends up sounding like a squeak. Like a cute little baby animal. What are the rest of you doing during this?
Can I take a swipe at it with my sword as it goes past me?
Yes. You hit.
I'm afraid I'm wasting all my good rolls early.
You chop it in half.
Does it continue to move?
One of the halves does not.
You see a wormwood.
Can I Eldritch Blast the other half?
Are you even in this room? Did you move from
I
the
assumed I
first
would
room?
have followed
Okay.
along.
If so, then yes. This hits, and you blast the entire coffin apart. Now nothing is
Ew.
moving. You see a bony skeletal length descending down a thin hole bored into the floor. A sound comes from the hole, growing softer as it retreats.
Good God.
I do not like the sound of this.
And we should plug that hole up.
Well, we could plug the hole up, or we could follow and deal with whatever it is directly.
We already have one mysterious door / coffin. How big is the hole?
Maybe a few inches in diameter.
I don't think I can fit through that.
It was a small skull.
Not with that attitude.
A worm
Would-
could.
A worm could. Slash begins talking thoughtfully about how if you removed his limbs, he's pretty sure he could do it.
I'm okay.
I
I sharpen my sword.
Has the laughing entirely faded at this point?
Yes.
Alright, so we know that it has proceeded very far away at this point, or it is trying to trick us. One of those things. So we do not know how far this hole goes.
Gwendolyn Whitwich, what do you think we should do?
He's still just kind of staring in the hole, trying to figure out why he can't see through it.
Just squinting into the hole.
A bony noose descends from the ceiling and attacks you, Wendalorn.
A bony noose.
Interesting.
Yes.
Is it within reach of me?
Are you within 5 feet of him?
I only said that I followed him, and I mean I just swiped at the snake.
I don't think that you were in melee with him, no.
Does Wendalorn even notice this?
Well, does a 14 hit?
Yes, it does.
Then he notices as he begins being lifted off the floor.
Well, I'm gonna if I can, run up to it and try to slice it.
All right.
Can I do that?
You can do that, yes. And the noose does 2 piercing damage to you, Wendalorn. You slash the noose down.
Had he gotten very far off the ground?
A few inches. He thumps to the ground.
I walk, but very briskly walk up to Wendalorn and use a dagger to just cut the noose off him.
The noose clatters to the ground, bonily, as you cut him free.
dagger between two of the bones. Just
Oh, yes. Sound like a rubber band coming undone.
great.
Vesper, where are you standing?
I assumed that I went in with them.
Okay. So none of you are remaining in the previous room, is that correct?
Sounds like it.
Okay. A wall of bones begins to rise from the other side, forming a blockage, closing off the doorway into the previous room.
It's like here?
It's moving. Yes, it's moving fairly slowly.
Hmm.
Shit, I'm gonna stab at that too.
Wait, as I see Worm approaching it.
Yes.
Let's not get close to it until we know what it does. And I will take out... one of the vials of acid and just roll it across the floor to it, so it hopefully wouldn't shatter until it actually gets to it, just to see if the wall like strikes out of it or anything.
Okay. Can you make me a sleight of hand roll, please?
Sleight of hand. Oof.
You try to deftly roll it, and it smashes onto the ground.
Well, this did not go as planned.
We'll see how far it got before, hurtling and smashing. You got about halfway. There's now a puddle of acid. It smells like salad on the ground.
I imagine Ivor taking a bowling stand, so then just it gets caught in his finger and flies up in the air instead.
That's exactly what I'm imagining.
It's their fault for putting it in a bowling ball shaped bottle.
Exactly.
A little bit of the oil got, out of one of the vials and all over the glass of all of them. So messy.
Mm.
Can I stab the wall now?
If you would like to run up around the acid, so you don't step in it,
I would rather run around the acid.
Okay.
then you may run up and stab the wall.
See, my rolls are getting progressively worse. I peaked.
You stab the wall. Your sword goes right between two of the adjacent bones. The thing quivers and tries to fall on you.
Does it?
Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
You take 8 bludgeoning damage as the whole thing engulfs you and tries to crush you. Well, the rest of you see this. What would you like to do?
Is it still like wall shaped, or did it?
Well, now
move
it's
and
worm
change shape
shaped.
with
Because it
Oh.
has collapsed on you like saran bones.
So has it actually wrapped around Worm then?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like moving of its own.
Yes.
volition.
With the bone
Are
crunch.
we in initiative now?
Let's
or
go
are we
into
just-
initiative.
just kind of pop-
But it's not blocking the door.
It is no
Thank
longer
you,
blocking the
worm.
door.
Ooh. Natural 20 from Stephanie.
Nice.
Well, I am closest.
True. You did just get.
I have been walled.
You have been walled.
Let me get Slash real quick.
Do you do anything, Taylor, with nat 20s in initiative?
I should. I don't have you guys with tokens, so... No. But I have previously.
What have you done?
I mean, nothing productive. Oh, Slash got pretty good. Top of the round is Steph, then Slash, then Chris, then George, then Jordan, then Wall. So starting with Steph.
Well, can I move enough to swing my sword at it? Or has it got me?
You are grappled, and for the millionth time, I gotta specifically grab the grapple rolls, which I've been frantically grabbing. Your speed is 0.
Oh.
You cannot benefit from bonus to movement speed. It does not prevent you from attacking, so you can try to hack and slash it.
Okay. I will try to hack and slash. Do I hack and/or slash?
You do. You slash it real good, smashing away many of the bones.
Did it end the grapple?
Can you give me a strength saving throw, please? You break out.
I became a strong boy.
Apparently so. The wall rises up into a pillar of bone. Not doing anything, just responding. Slash is going to run up and try to smash the pillar with his rock. Hands snake out of the ground. Let's see if they grab his ankles. They do not. He daintily skips over the hands that reach out from underneath tiles of the floor to grab his ankles. He runs over and is going to try to smash. He do not. Vesper, what do you do?
I'm not entirely sure what's going on here.
Well, there's a pillar of bones that just got off of Worm. There's a pair of little bony hands that just popped out from underneath the tile. Tried to grab Mr. Slash. That didn't happen. There is the remnant of a noose that is around Wendellorn's neck. It's also made of bone. There's a lot of bones, and they're coming from all different angles to furtively, feebly try to entrap you people.
Why are there so many animated bones?
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
Oh.
Well, what do you do, Vesper, knowing where this is going?
Well, I'm not sure what else to do, so I guess I'm just gonna try and burn them.
Alright, what are you attacking?
That pillar, I guess.
Alright.
Oh, good.
You whackoom the bones, and it does a little bit of damage to him. I say a little bit of damage. The pillar seems to be a little less coherent after you whackoom it.
I'm very useful.
Do you do anything else, Vesper?
No, it's my turn.
Alright, Gwendolyn, your turn.
So I'm still over by the sarcophagus, correct? I'm like the opposite end
are.
of the room from this. How big is this room, roughly?
Oh, I have the dimensions here. It's like 30 by 50 feet. 50 feet long. The 30 feet has the sarcophagus and the door on each of them.
And where are these things coming up from the floor?
About here-ish. And the noose did not come from the floor. It just kind of descended from the ceiling directly above you. And when you look up, you see a length of spine retracting into a hole in the ceiling that is fairly similar to the one that the arm thing came out of previously in the floor. As you look around, you see no additional holes that look like they're just waiting for something to come out of.
I know I asked you this last time, but I don't remember. What is the back of this sarcophagus made out of?
It seems to be a thin wood.
Well, then I am going to take my sword and start hacking away at that and try and make the opening bigger.
Alright, can you please give me an attack roll?
He doesn't seem concerned that the ceiling just tried to hang him.
Well, it didn't succeed, so... Wendalorn, you methodically hack and chop at the back of the sarcophagus. In the strange darkness to which you're unaccustomed, it's a little disconcerting, it's a little distracting, but you ignore it enough to get the job done.
Is the air warmer or colder on the other side of this door here?
If you reach into the darkness, it feels colder.
Can he see his arm as he puts it through, or does it
He
kind of
cannot.
disappear into the darkness?
It disappears completely into darkness.
And I don't feel anything when I stick my arm through?
You do not. The air feels exactly the same as it does on this side, aside from the coldness.
Shouldn't we be sticking Slash's body parts through there?
Probably.
Well, I am going to step through the doorway and see if that somehow changes my ability to see.
Right, you step into the doorway and are met by utter darkness. You feel a gentle breeze coming from some place in front of you. It is cool. It does not smell terribly nasty.
If I stick my hand back through where the opening was, is the opening still there?
It is, yes.
I think I'm going to end my turn there, just standing in the darkness, with the breeze.
Sounds
That
peaceful.
sounds smart.
Alright, Ivor.
All right. Is this the room with all of the crypts and things?
Yes.
Okay, so I will attempt to hide behind one of those. It's a bonus action.
Alright.
Oof.
You trip and fall,
It's not
sending
doing so hot, but-
sending a coffin skidding across the floor. For once in your life, you do not feel stealthy. But you did use a bonus action, so...
Yes. So from the floor, just out of my ankle, pops a bolt from the grave.
You cast a bolt from the floor.
Just kind of arcs off my body towards the bones.
And it blasts into the pillar of bones, sending one of them flying directly past Slash's ear.
Then use. Do I have enough movement remaining after tripping and stuff to get to the pile of bones?
Yes. That didn't use up any extra movement.
So I'll rush over and I will pull out a dagger and booming blade the bones.
Alright.
Which will actually, right now, just be a dagger attack.
But if it runs away from you, it booms, correct? Alright, you prepare to boom. You do not hit, though.
Okay. So it does not boom if I do not hit.
Okay.
That is my turn.
It is the wall's turn. Spiny bones stick out of the wall and it begins to spin, trying to become a whirlwind of death and destruction that weaves throughout. The three of you clustered around it.
That's not good.
Does a 21 hit, Ivor?
It does.
Alright.
Yeah, I'll let that hit.
It deals 5 bludgeoning damage. It moves out of your melee, but you will be at disadvantage to hit it with opportunity if you try to. Would you like to?
I'd like to try to, anyways.
Alright.
Black.
That'll hit.
Was I hit by it?
We'll see if it's still alive after this. Which,
So
you know,
that
it is.
Actually, I would get sneak attack on this, right?
Yes, you can do it once a turn. That is right? Yes.
Yes, because it's no longer my turn. I
Correct.
have refresh attack. yes.
And you wouldn't have used it last turn No, yes. Anyway, you can use it this turn. Sorry.
Yeah, my bolts from the grave usually consumes my sneak attack, but since it's no longer my turn, it's not once per round, it's once per turn. Right. You can technically sneak attack twice per round if you use a reaction for one of them. So I guess that's, if that hits, that's 14 piercing.
Alright. You cut it cleanly across, and the thing explodes, scattering you with tiny, pointy bits of bone that don't do any mechanical damage.
Well, my booming blade may not have boomed, but I still boomed.
You did a manual booming blade. The bones begin to skitter like little spiders across the room in different directions.
Oh boy.
They crawl up the walls and reform in the shape of a big ol' skull on the ceiling. It is Worm's turn.
So
Worm,
when
you're
it-
getting more and more accustomed to seeing Ivor just completely destroy things.
When it whirlwinded, did I get hit by it?
You did not. It was disincorporated before it got a chance to whirlwind you.
How high is the ceiling?
About 10 feet. It is just out of your melee reach at the moment. Probably not. Actually, how tall are you? And how
Like
long
6
is your
foot.
sword?
I don't know. It's a great sword.
So you should be able to get it. It'll just be really awkward. You can
I don't
attack
wanna-
it, but you'll be at disadvantage to hit.
Really? No, I want to shoot a guiding bolt at it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Pew pew.
Ooh.
Your
That is
guiding bolt
very
hits.
This is a very good damage roll. Wow.
And completely obliterates it. You are scattered with pixie dust like bone remnant.
That is a lot of damage. Holy cow.
Guiding
You
bolt is
guided
cool.
it straight to hell. Boom.
Do you do anything else, Worm?
Are we like showered in shrapnel now?
In dust. Glittery dust that glows. You kind of just like fairy fired yourself.
I was about to say, is this how fairy fires made?
So we're all kind of glowing right now.
Very, very mildly. Fairy fire summons actual pixies and disintegrates them, showering your opponent with their corpse. That's how it works
Oh,
in this
no.
universe.
That's awful.
I did not need that image.
I wish I had fairy fire now.
In that explosion, Ivor just turns to Worm and silently nods approvingly.
I'm going to look around and notice that Wendellorn is missing,
Yep, he do that.
and also that there's a hole in the wall.
Yes, the hole is a little bit bigger now.
I'm
It
going to
is
put
exactly
two and two together.
Wendellorn shaped. He is efficient.
He just very delicately carved his own shape out of it. Or did he just walk through it cartoon style?
A little of both. He walked through it when it made more sense than continuing to cut, I imagine.
Alright, so I'm gonna go over and look at the hole and kind of investigate it and probably stick my hand through
Right.
it.
You'll still be like 20 feet away if you use your movement, considering you were right
Oh,
by
well,
the door.
I didn't realize the room was that big.
Yeah, it's about
Alright,
50
well-
feet long.
Well, then I will make my way toward it.
You saunter. It is Slash's turn. He squats down and tries to smash the skeletal hands with his rock.
Oh, I forgot about them.
He misses. The rock comes down right in between the hands. Vesper, your turn.
Resper. The pillar is still there, correct?
No, it was disintegrated.
Oh, Oh, okay.
There's a pair
what
of
is
hands.
left then?
That's the only skeletal stuff remaining.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just burn those. Why not?
Alright.
Burning things is always a good solution.
You singe them somewhat. They are
Damn
still
it.
there.
They're just crispy now.
They are extra crispy. Do you
Alright,
do
this is
anything
my turn.
else?
No, it's my turn.
Okay. Wendelorn. You are continuously in the darkness. You hear the sound of a mechanical egg beater come from the other side of the blackness. And then you hear a splintering sound, and then you hear the sound of disintegration. Wendelorn knows better than I do what the sound of disintegration sounds like.
And that's coming out of the darkness?
No, it's coming from behind you. You're hearing the sounds of combat is all.
Ah, okay. Wendelorn is going to attempt to cast light on his sword blade.
Okay. He casts light, and it illuminates the darkness. He sees around him the stone and the corridor. It does not look that different from what's on the other side. About 10 feet in front of him, a staircase leads downward. All the lines of the stone in the magical light are wavy like water. It's a very strange effect. There are 4 more skeletal nooses hanging from the ceiling in front of him. As the light touches them, they, kind of tremble and retract up into the ceiling.
Do I see the source of the breeze where the air is moving from?
There are little bits of lichen and mushrooms here and there, and their little tendrils and their little furls and fronds tremble around the staircase. You assume the breeze comes from there.
Okay, I'm going to step back into the other room to see what's going on there that's making so much noise.
You see Slash smashing the ground with his rock. You see Vesper blasting the ground with fire. And you see the others covered in sparkly dust. The bone wall is gone.
Okay, well, I'm just going to stand there and kind of take this all in.
Understandable. He may be yelling Slash smash. Yes. Ivor.
Okay, so is there any threats left in the room?
There are a pair of hands that people are having a lot of trouble destroying.
Hands, right?
They just kind of come up from underneath one of the floor tiles, like hermit crab limbs, but they're skeletal hands instead.
I'm gonna do take 2 on trying to hide behind a
All right.
coffin.
You feel considerably stealthier this time.
Yeah, no stumbling and stubbing my toe.
Even though you're
that
shedding
triggers-
pixie dust.
Exactly. Yes. Even though, so am I considered hidden?
You are hidden from the hands. For whatever
Right,
that's worth.
considers Ultimate Grave at advantage. That is
All right.
a terrible damage roll, but it still does something.
You blast away one of the pinky fingers. It's a ricochet.
With my action, I will Eldritch Blast
Yes.
at the same hand I hit.
And you smash away one of the hands altogether.
I'll just slab squat in place, and that's the remainder of my turn.
Fantastic. The hands are going to try to grab Slash around the throat and pull him into the ground.
There's only one hand now, right?
The hand singular is going to grab Slash around the throat and try to pull him to the grounds. Slash, do you resist? No, he does not. Slash's face is too big to fit through the hole, so he just kind of face plants into the ground. taking 3 bludgeoning damage before ripping himself free.
Does the hand stay out, or has it retracted?
Well, I say rip himself free. The hand is still around his throat. There's just now a long length of arm attached to the ground and to his throat.
So he's just stood up.
He just kind of stood up, yeah. And it is Worm's turn.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to sever it.
Okay. You slash it in half, and the hand drops free. The arm
What
tentacle
happens?
retracts into the ground, leaving a hole only a few inches in diameter.
So there are now 2 holes or 3 holes?
There are 2 holes right there.
But then there was
Then there's
another
one in the
thing that came out.
ceiling. Then there's one in a coffin.
Right.
They're everywhere.
Are there more holes that we see that stuff didn't come out of?
You see no holes that nothing has not come from. That probably didn't make grammatical sense.
No.
You do not see what you think are holes that things might come from.
That haven't already had things come from them.
You do not see fresh holes. Do you do anything else, Worm?
Well, I ask if anybody has anything we can plug these holes with. I still think that's a good idea.
Slash has mushroom paste that he bought from town.
Is he planning on using it for anything?
He was pretty sure it would come in handy. He was given it as a gift.
Well,
It
now's his
apparently,
time to shine.
yes, it apparently hardens to stone if you leave it long enough. He is willing to donate it to the cause.
That's impressive.
I suggest that he plug the holes with mushroom paste.
Is it still edible? Or was it never intended to be edible?
I think this is the byproduct of mushroom edibility.
I don't think I want to eat something that hardens into cement.
Probably not. Maybe you just need to mix it with acid first.
Good plan.
He's going to spend his turn rolling for sleight of hand. He does alright, despite his sausage-like fingers being almost too big to even fit in the holes. He kind of spades down the mushroom paste and gives it a gentle, thunderous tap. He fills the 2 that are right there. He's not going to get to any of the others this turn. Vesper, it is your turn. Can you give me perception, please, Vesper?
Of course. You didn't say it had to be great.
I did not. That is correct. You see 2 bony nooses descending from the ceiling right behind Mr. Ivor. And Ivor, can you please give me perception?
I can.
Stone dust sprinkles your shoulders. You glance up and see 2 bony nooses descending from the ceiling toward you. Vesper, what do you do?
Well, I'm gonna try and shoot one down with my my crossbow.
All right. You, in fact, plank one of them. It does not break, but it sways.
Good.
Anything else?
No, I guess not.
All right. Wendalorn, you see these nooses descend, and it is your turn.
Well, it worked in the other room. I'm going to hold the sword up to them. And if I need to approach closer to them, I'm going to try to drive them back into the ceiling with the light.
You approach, and they are going to make charisma saving throws. No, wisdom saving throws.
Do bone nooses have a lot of wisdom?
Not especially. Enough, though, apparently. The first one succeeds, the second one fails. It retracts up into the ceiling. That used up pretty much all of your movement, George, but you still have your action.
Well, I guess I'm going to cast Firebolt on it and see what that does.
Alright. That'll hit. It lightly singes one of it. I say one of it. It lightly singes the remaining one. Do you do anything else?
No, that's it.
Alright. Ivor. One of the nooses retracts as the magical light of Wendalorn's blade touches it.
Alrighty. I will duck behind a different coffin.
Alright.
That will definitely work better.
You feel pretty stealthy. You have no advantage because the thing was right next to you.
Fair enough. Still does the thing. I don't know if that hits.
Your bolts from the grave miss.
Rip. Okay. As an action, Eldritch Blast. Actually, how far am I from the noose now?
How far away did you want to be? It was effectively in melee, but without being in melee range. So you can use as much of your movement.
Ducked ducked next to the nearest coffin, so whichever.
Okay, so use 5 feet of movement.
Okay, so I'm pretty close then. Am I not in melee with it then?
You are not in melee, unless you would like to be.
Yeah, I'll just Eldritch Blast.
That does it. And you send it... you strike it with such force, it flops back against the ceiling with a crack before swinging back downward. It has not disincorporated.
Alright. That is Ivor's turn.
Alright. It is going to twitch and is going to lash out at you. Does a 20 hit?
It does.
Can you give me an opposed strength roll, please?
Yes, sir.
It grabs you by the ankle and hoists you up like a piñata.
Ruh-roh.
It deals 2 piercing damage as its spines dig into your ankle.
Alright.
A length of bone sprouts from the floor directly beneath you. The tip of it extends into claws, and it's going to try to rake you across the face. Does an 18 hit? Fantastic.
Fair.
It whiffs. It is your turn, Worm. You just saw Ivor get hoisted and batted at.
Can I reach the thing hoisting him?
Yes.
Thwap?
Thwappant.
How far is the other one within melee range as well?
It is now, yes.
Then I guess I'm not going to do anything.
It turns slowly toward you.
Oh, hi.
Alright, Slash is going to barrel forward. He doesn't have his rock anymore. He's got his great axe, and he's going to try to chop this arm down. He do. That deals 1d12 plus 4. And he delicately, beautifully chops the hand off of the end of it. The rest of the length remains, does not retract. Vesper.
Vesper.
What to do, Vesper?
I could just keep making things crispy, I guess.
Seems to be your specialty.
It does. Oh, well, I can make things extra crispy, actually.
So long as you don't mean fireball, we're good to go.
I don't, but I just got a new crispy spell.
Ooh. Burning Hans. Because Hans tends to be pretty crispy when you burn him.
No, but I did forget that I had that. I may actually use that one.
Just throttle the thing and burn it.
Yes.
So you're aware, Burning Hands is an AoE that will probably get at least one of your allies.
I was not. Good point.
It would be cool if it was just Mage Hand on fire.
Okay, ignore that. I don't know why
How big
that
is
happened.
the area?
A 15-foot cone.
That.
Just invert the cone so the pointy end is on the floor.
If you're only attacking one thing with it, it kind of is not really worth the expenditure. It is, in fact, time for Hans. I mean, if you're just doing single target, Firebolt is probably the better use of resources there.
It's something that can hit a lot of targets.
I also
It's not
just
going to do a lot.
I also just got Scorching Ray. So that's a thing. And I may very well use that.
Do it.
I will if I can find it. There it is.
Range spell
Boom.
attack for each ray, right?
Yeah, should be a few rays in Scorching Ray.
Yeah, I believe it's 3.
Yeah, it does 3.
Alright, so you make a separate attack for each of them.
Oh, okay.
Although I think the damage is the same for each of them. So that's
If
tends
it's
to be
separate,
how... Yes?
it's separate attack rolls. It'd be separate damage. Stuff like
Okay.
Magic Missile, there's no attack roll, so it's considered an AoE.
Gotcha.
So do I do 2 more of them, or?
Yep, you roll twice more.
Okay.
All 3 of them hit. And the thing the thing does... So, are you, like, shooting a different laser from each fingertip? Is it just Magic Missile but on fire? What does this look like when you do it?
It looks like pain
Understandable.
and crispy times.
Pain and crispy times are up from Vesper and consume the... were you attacking the noose or were you attacking the arm reaching from the ground?
The arm.
Okay. The arm disintegrates into pain and crispy times. Do you do anything else?
No, that'll be it.
Okay. Gwendolyn. You know there are 2 other nooses currently unaccounted for. However, one of them is still attacking E4.
Evor's up in the air at this point.
He is, yes.
Well, having seen the usefulness of Scorching Ray just a moment, it seems like the thing to do. So
All
I
right.
will try Scorching Ray the noose, not at his neck, but
Right.
up above him. And see if we can take that thing down.
Your first and last one will hit. Now, what does it look like when you Scorching Ray?
I think that would more look like kind of like a sunbeam
Okay.
flying forth from his hand.
The sunbeam impacts the noose where it connects to the ceiling and melts it away. And Ivor plummets to the ground. Can you make me an acrobatics roll, please, Ivor?
Can.
You deftly land on your feet, narrowly missing the beams flying in every direction around you.
That's impressive considering I'm wearing like 50 pounds of armor.
This is correct. Anything else, Wendelorn?
Is there anything else going on in the room?
Not as far as you are aware.
Okay, well then I'm going to kind of, before anything else pops out, I'm going to hastily tell them there's another room with a staircase through that doorway there, but it's black as pitch.
Not going to mention that your sword cut through the darkness
Not at the
and
moment.
is currently glowing.
Not at the moment, because it wouldn't occur to him.
Is it still glowing?
It should be still glowing. He has not taken damage. Yeah.
It
Is light
lasts for an
concentration.
hour otherwise.
Okay.
Yes. It should continue to glow, as far as I'm aware. Then, Ivor, it is your turn.
All right, so the one that was grabbing me is now deceased, or is there
It
more?
is. You see no more bones.
No more bones. So the only thing left really in the room of interest at this point is the hole in the wall, then?
That is correct.
Okay. I will walk over there and stick my head inside. But it's darkness, right?
It is darkness. Your dark vision does not. Can you see through magical darkness? Okay, then you see darkness.
As he goes to stick his head through there, I'm going to let him know there are more nooses in the room.
The darkness? Or this room?
In
the dark room there, but they went up in the ceiling when I lit the sword up.
Okay. I'm just going to stay in the room we're currently in, but I will prepare. I prepare to throw a dagger at anything that. Well, I guess first I will stealth.
Okay.
Just hide behind another thing.
You feel pretty stealthy.
And then I'll prepare to throw a dagger at any other bones that happen to pop into existence in here.
All right.
And my turn.
All right, we can pop out of initiative.
Hey.
Pop.
Bones and bone dust and little tongues of flame surround you all. Slash seems fairly disappointed that he didn't properly get to smash anything with his rock and that he had to rely on conventional weaponry.
Are we still slightly glowing?
No.
Bummer.
Well, you might have a little bit on you. Ivor kind of got it all shook off him when he got hoisted.
I became a pinata.
Indeed. We didn't get to find out if you have delicious candy inside your belly, though.
No, and I found out the next thing we can do with Slash.
Hoist him and hit him with a stick?
He might be full of candy.
Perhaps. He is going around the room and tidily filling the other bone arm holes with his mushroom paste.
Perfect.
I'm going to step back into that dark room and just make sure there's nothing creeping up on us from the staircase. Did I mention the staircase to them?
Yes.
You mentioned the staircase to them. Can you give me a perception roll, please? You see nothing different.
All right. Well, I'm just going to hang out in there until they all come through, assuming they do at some point.
All right.
I will follow him, and we can see in there too.
If you stand within the radius of his light, your
Which
torch.
goes how far?
How far is the light, Mr. Wendelorn?
20 feet. 20 feet in bright light, and then further 20 feet in dim.
Right, so you only see the bright light, and your torch extinguishes as it touches the darkness, Mr. Worm.
If I go back into the other room, does it come back?
It does not.
Okay. I'll follow him through.
I will follow as well.
Slash will also follow, leaving his rock behind.
Aw, poor Rock.
He can slash if he want to, and he leaves his rock behind.
Thank you.
Since Wendelorn has no way of telling time, he's just going to periodically recast light
Okay.
when there's a moment to, rather than waiting till it goes out to recast it.
Is that Wendelorn's version of the clock? Is this a system he has codified for himself over his long years of study and solitude?
It has probably never occurred to him to worry about it.
Fantastic. Vespered, are you followed? Or I should say, do you follow?
I'm following.
You may be followed. I'm not going to tell you if you're followed.
Oh.
So you all join him in the little room on the other side of the little corridor.
Are the nooses hanging down?
There are no nooses in sight. There are 4 holes in the ceiling where they came from, though. There's actually a couple dozen holes in the ceiling as you examine the ceiling.
So the only thing here really is the staircase then?
Yes.
Then I'm going to make my way for the staircase.
Alright. You step on the staircase. You immediately realize there's some kind of carpeting that was once on these stairs that grinds into dust underneath your feet. The dust wafts up the stairs as the breeze tickles it.
It's a very dusty place.
It is a very dusty place. I cannot deny that.
Do I see any footprints on the stairs ahead of me?
You do not.
Well, I guess I will start slowly going down the staircase.
Alright, and I'm assuming everyone is staying, within 20 feet of him. As best they
Yeah,
can, so they are not plunged into darkness.
That would be perfect.
I'll go right up by him, yeah.
The stairs are not deep. You descend them quickly. There is an open doorway at the end. If you step through it, you are no longer within magical darkness. And the dim light extends from your light spell again. You are in what looks like the entryway of a petrified mansion, which is a bit of an odd description, I suppose.
Petrified mansion.
Petrified mansion. It's like a
So
mansion, but everything's made of stone.
So does
Okay.
this doorway lead into what looks like a front room, or?
Yes.
So things
There's
are made that shouldn't be made of stone, or just like the
there's-
walls and floor.
There's
are
little
stone
bits of
naturally.
simple furniture here and there, little tables, what may be a coat rack.
And they are also stone.
I don't know, I just drew an ankh. That's not a thing that's there. But yes, everything is made of stone. There, it's a coat rack with like a head on top of it.
Naturally.
As coat racks do.
There is directly opposite this little staircase a grand staircase that leads upward. There's a doorway here and here.
What is that little squiggle on the lower right?
That's a little table. There's nothing atop it.
And forgive me, was this room lit, or are we still having to stick to the 20-foot radius?
This room is not lit, but the magical darkness is not here.
Okay, so Ivor can see in here then.
Yes.
At least I'm like, I'd like to go over to the store. And
Okay.
It's kind of
I'm sorry, I was looking down at my notes. Was that the left or the right one?
left door.
Okay.
And just kind of lean against it and try and like slightly creak it open without really trying to make too much noise or anything.
There is actually no door in the way.
Oh, okay. What do I see in that direction then?
Through it, you see a dining room. A much nicer one than the previous one that had, a couple corpses around it. The table is made of stone. There are ornate chairs around it made of stone, a couple dozen. In front of each chair, there is a little stone plate. Upon each plate, there is a little stone chicken.
Is there a light source, or is his sword the only light source?
Unless you create a light source, there is none here.
Alright, I would like to light my torch back up.
Alright. It light.
Are there any other doors out of the dining room?
There are 2 doors to the south.
Okay. I will just keep that in mind for now and then hop over here.
Alright.
What do I see through that door?
You see the smashed remnants of what might have been a sitting room. There is a hearth along one wall, and there looks like there might have been a bunch of stone chairs here at one point facing the hearth, but they are all tumbled about and smashed to pieces. The walls and the floor are smashed in places. It looks like a colossal impact hit them, leaving a kind of shattered crater here and there.
So more than one?
More than one, yes. Maybe 5 or 6.
Are the walls affected?
The walls have been smashed a bit. They have not fallen down. It doesn't look like there's about to be a cave-in. The ceiling is... the ceiling looks fine. There is a bunch of debris leading from the hearth, as though something was ripped out of it, or something was poured from it from above and then rolled outward. Lots of bits of stone and dirt. The first dirt, I guess, that you've seen on this floor. There's been bits of dust here and there, but this is a genuine soil.
So do the walls look like they've been carved out of the ground, or are they is it quarried looking?
They look like they are beautiful stone reproductions of wood paneling.
Oh, okay. So this isn't like a cave carved out.
Correct.
In the shape of a mansion. Gotcha.
And there are no doors out of here.
Well, I'm going to walk up the stairs enough to see what's up there.
Alright. You walk up the stairs. There's banisters here and here. And there are gargoyles on this landing. There are 2 on either side of a door.
Are they moving?
They are not moving. They do look pretty much identical to the ones in the first room when you immediately went down the stairs from Hope. There are double doors here. They seem to be replicas of tremendous hardwood doors carved from stone. There is a gold knocker ring handle thing on one of the doors and a silver one on the other. There is no visible locking mechanism.
While they're all doing that, Wendelorn's just kind of going to wander around this first floor area and just look to see if there's any colorful things or any things that kind of pique his interest.
Okay. Can you give me perception, please, Wendelorn?
Maybe once today that'll be a good roll.
I'm afraid you find nothing colorful. You do pull open a drawer on a table, and within you find a pair of beautifully carved stone dice. They have gargoyle faces instead of the 1 pips.
Well, he'll take those and put those in one of his pouches and just kind of continue wandering about.
I want to inspect the gargoyles a little more closely.
Okay. And how are you going to inspect them?
Well, I want to look at it real closely, and if it doesn't look like a threat, I want to touch it.
Can you give me investigation, please?
Can I assist with that?
Yes.
Perfect.
These are gargoyles. They're not attacking you. You can poke them with a stick and they still won't attack you.
They have the hole for the sentient stone thing?
None of these gargoyles had an externally visible hole. You had to smash them up to get to the chest.
Gotcha.
Externally.
I swear that was a word in my head. My hand also.
It's still a word in your head.
Externally.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what the other word I was intending was, because it definitely wasn't externally.
Awkwardly?
I think awkwardly is the word that I'm going for now. That's what I'm sticking with. So, these two jack monkeys, they're like, jackasses, but they're bipedal. They investigate the gargoyles, and they find nothing of note of them, aside from the fact they're made of stone.
That was mean.
I intended it caringly and fondly. It didn't really come out that way.
You're like
I'm
a
sorry.
jackass, but that walks. No offense.
Many more things sound better in my head than in real life. I'm just kind of building a collection of them today. Vesper, what do you do?
I'm not exactly sure.
Do you set things on fire?
Sure, that's always a good thing to do.
What do you set on fire? There's really not much to set on fire. It's kind of all rocks.
Yeah.
You set the coat rack on fire.
The coat rack is also stone.
You could put a fire in the fireplace.
Yes.
All right.
Like, you probably have to have something flammable in there.
You walk up to the fireplace, and you see there is a severed leg inside it.
Oh.
Are you gonna set it on fire?
Fuel.
This severed leg has the withered flesh of the undying on it. It is not a skeleton leg.
Oh,
So, like, one of us?
One of us, one of us. Yes, one of you.
I'm gonna pick it up and kind of examine it.
I feel like you could do that without picking it up.
Can you give me investigation, please? It's a leg. If you squeeze it, a little bit of ichor will come dribbling out of the flesh, but otherwise it's been here a while, looks like.
Is it naked?
It has the remnant of an pant on it. One of a pair of pants.
I'm gonna turn away from the fireplace and just kind of hold it out and just go. Hey, I found a leg in the fireplace. Is anyone missing a leg?
Slash looks down at himself. He is not missing a leg.
I still have all my limbs.
Am I missing a leg?
Perception. Purple.
You're not entirely sure. Being worm, you've forgotten how many limbs you're supposed to have. You're pretty sure you have all of them, though.
Just for fun. Because Ivor actually has the best perception in the world. Excellent.
Ivor,
Wow.
why have you utterly failed to figure out that this is not your leg?
Huh? Well...
He did stub his toe pretty aggressively earlier.
Yes.
That's fair.
I also... I now have the knowledge that this is not my first time down here, so how do I know that I don't have 3 legs normal?
This is true.
My entire world is upside down.
Or maybe it grew back.
You're having a fun and cheerful conversation with each other about how, maybe the secret to returning to the living world is realizing that humans have all along had 3 legs. And then Vesper just kind of gives you a little bit of a pitying look. But it's a fun theory. It's good to exercise the mind. Well, having come to the realization eventually that this is not your leg, all of you, what do you do?
Well, I noticed that every one of the last 9 dice rolls have been single digit.
Yeah, thank you, Roll20.
Oh.
Don't get in any fights until that improves.
Don't fight the leg.
Yeah.
Oh, you just got all your bad rolls out of the way early.
Well, we've split the party pretty well.
Have you? I suppose you have. I really
We're
should
in
be
3
having things
different
attack
rooms.
you.
Please don't.
Please don't.
You're the one who brought it up. So, if you are in 3 different rooms, did Vesper just kind of shout, "Is anyone missing a leg?" and all of this happened
Yes.
based on just that prompt?
She must have yelled really loud. So
She
I
cast
guess
Vesper's voluminous voice.
I guess I'll go down there and have a look at it. Barring anything else of interest to look at.
You walk down the stairs on your 2 legs and take a look at the leg, and then determine
Yeah,
this
okay,
is not
come
one of
look
your
at my
legs.
leg.
Imagine how much better walking downstairs would be if you had 3.
Or even more.
I contemplate ways I might sew this onto myself.
You just go down the stairs like that egg
What?
with all the feet coming out of it.
What?
He who seeks the Parmesan. He
Yeah,
who travels.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. I had forgotten about
Maybe
that.
that's what we're after all along.
Repressing and forgetting are 2 very different things.
This is true.
This creature, thankfully, does not appear before you. Unfortunately, nothing of interest appears before you on this floor. I mean, aside from the leg.
Well, are you going to take that with you?
Sure.
Yay. I leave.
Now,
Oh, there's still a leg away somewhere.
there's
Put it in your pocket.
so there's still 2 doors we haven't gone through in the dining room.
This is
Yes.
correct.
Yeah, I think we should probably head there.
You make your meandering way into the dining hall, seeing the table, seeing the chairs, seeing the places set, the stone plates. I forgot what plates were. Upon which rests a little stone bit of chicken meat.
And nothing is out of place like the other room.
Nothing is out of place like the other room.
No
Is
more
there a-
legs.
There are chicken legs.
They are attached to the chickens, though.
Yes.
There any sort of decorations on the walls or anything?
There are none. The walls, even here, look like stone replications of wood paneling.
Are these doors or doorways?
These are actual doors. They each have an iron knocker ring on them. Handle thing.
That's
For
all.
what purpose are
It's just
metal
called a
rings put up?
knocker.
Okay, like, are they knockers if you aren't actually knocking with them? Like, if it's your own house, it's indoors, you're not knocking.
Well,
I mean, you
wouldn't
can
just
if you
put
want to.
knockers on an interior door.
Well,
But
I
they're
didn't
still
design
called
this
knockers.
thing. I'm not the designer of the weird stone mansion. I'm just the interpreter of it. I have no idea why someone would do something like that. Well, they're knockers. You can knock on them if you would like.
You didn't make this.
I mean, I did. Just what I do
Yeah.
can't really be called designing.
Like nobody else would stick a leg in the fireplace.
I'm not
Oh,
even
I
gonna
don't
argue
know.
that.
Aaron might.
Yeah. He would have something far more interesting with it than I would, though. I would put it there just to be a leg. He'd have a whole backstory for it.
It would be part of an elaborate puzzle.
That the leg would have at least 5 decades of history behind it.
And it somehow would actually belong to one of the party members, and they would only just realize it then. But none of those legs, with none of those backstories, is in this room.
So are we all in the dining room now?
If you would all like to be. The only person I can think who might not be there is Wendell Lorne, because he enjoys his exploring, but I assume everyone else would have made their way in. And Wendell Lorne, if
Yeah,
he feels like
Ves-
it.
He'll
Vesper, have
follow
you just
along if they're all going someplace.
Okay.
have you draped the leg over your shoulders like a scarf?
It's one bone.
I
It's
thought you
like
said
the
it was a leg.
Yeah, how
It's-
much leg is it?
well the bones kind of fuse together around the knee. You can't really drape it. It's most of the leg.
Oh,
It kind
so
of
it's like
cuts
a
off
whole
mid-thigh.
leg?
Oh yes, it's well aged.
How big is it?
Smaller
adult
than Slash's,
leg,
larger than
or-
Ebor's.
Ah. So a fairly good size then.
Yes. Slash is eyeing the leg. You think he may wish to use it to bludgeon people with?
I nudge Slash in the direction of the door. One of
Slash
the doors. Both of the
happily
doors.
grabs the knocker and throws open the door. Nothing attacks you.
With the knocker?
Yes.
Like, is there no door handle?
There is no door handle, only a knocker. That's why I was having
The
such
knocker
trouble
is
trying to
the door handle.
trying to describe it.
Is he pulling open the doors or pushing?
Yeah, he pulled it open.
So it's not a knocker, it's like a pull handle.
There we go. That's the
No,
vague
you
term
see,
I'm
he
looking
just
for.
broke the hinges and just.
He grabs the pull handle and opens it.
Nothing attacks him.
Nothing attacks him. Would you
That's
like to step
disappointing.
through after him?
Yes.
All right. Now, this is a fairly small room, maybe 10 by 10. You might expect a kitchen, seeing
I
as how
did
this was connected to a dining room, and there were two, food service sort of doors
I did
with
expect a
knockers
kitchen.
on them. But instead, shelves line these walls. There are iron cages filling these shelves with dozens of these cages, each about the size of, I don't know, a sack of potatoes, maybe. Inside each of these is a little dusty figure about the size of a mouse. If you look closely, you can see that this was a little mummified creature about the size of a mouse.
Is it a mouse?
Most of them don't seem to be mice. They seem to have far too many limbs, heads, and tails. Each of which was carefully wrapped up. A smice. There is a wax seal on each of these, and a thick layer of dust tops the whole little mummy. These cages each have a door with a simple latch on the outside.
Okay. Well, who wants to take one and see what it does? I say looking at Slash.
Even Slash does not volunteer for this. He looks nervously at the nearest one. He says nothing.
Well, that's not a no.
Can I insight check to see if I can if I get bad vibes from
them? Yeah, can you give me an Arcana roll, please? Or a religion roll. Actually, that's a religion roll makes more sense. What's that?
Is vibe a measurable thing?
Probably if you play Witch Doctor.
It's a vibe check.
Dang it! Jordan, would you please take a point of inspiration for that?
What did you say, Jordan?
I said it's a vibe check.
That needs to be on here. Can I do a religion check as well since I have proficiency?
Yes. Anyone who has proficiency in religion can do one.
I'm way more religion-y than you.
But we have the same bonus, you're just luckier.
Ivor and Worm, these things have been bound up and magically sealed, probably to keep the evils away. Or out.
To keep the evils contained?
Probably that one.
Hmm.
Or maybe to keep things magically fresh.
But there's no other, runes or any other form of protection?
Not that you can even vaguely recognize. One of the many pitfalls of living in a post-humanity purgatory where, billions of religions have come and gone.
So they just look like roughly animal-shaped cheeses.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate comparison.
Perfect. Nobody wants to take this out of its cage.
Well, considering what we just heard, Eva will not. Seems evil.
Vesper.
Gwendoline, do you have any interest? You're nuts.
That's fair.
Vesper?
Yes. Vesper, you do not make this connection. You do think you would like to poke one of them. You think it would be probably a bad idea, but you still want to do it.
I give a very gentle poke.
It creates a slight indentation. The bars of the cage are wide enough. Vesper has thin enough fingers.
I am, in fact, a twig.
Nothing happens except for a slight indentation. It does kind of feel like poking cheese.
So these are extremely small cages.
Yeah, each maybe the size of a sack of potatoes. A sack of small potatoes, or a small sack of potatoes.
Well, if it's the size of a sack of potatoes and it's sitting in the middle of it, she'd have to have very long fingers.
They're not necessarily each in the. They're not necessarily in the center. And I
Are you
doubt that.
doubting the length of...
I don't doubt it, Vesper. Your fingers can be as long as they need to be. Sorcerers need long fingers. I have always made that argument.
But, I mean, in your world, goats have long fingers too, so.
Well, yes. It's just consistency. That's valued in world building.
See, what fun is there if things don't have long fingers?
Long
Much
fingers
less.
are par for the course.
A few of these cages, at the very least, have their wrapped bundles pretty close to the edge. And if some of them don't, you could just, grab the cage and shake it until the thing rolls against the side.
So nothing happens in response to being molested.
This is correct.
Well, after it proceeds to do nothing, I'm just kind of gonna see how far into it I can poke.
Gross.
Just like see what happens.
You expend a little bit more pressure and it just kind of moves away because you're pushing it.
Well, that's no fun.
So her finger doesn't just slurp right in.
No, that's tempting, but no.
I wanted to slurp.
Well, then you should have fought the bone wall.
That's fair.
Now, did both doors lead onto this room, or just the one?
Yes. You swivel your head around, you can see the other door leads here.
Why would they need two doors to get into this one room?
Maybe it used to be a kitchen.
It's kind of small, but okay. Well, if nobody wants to open one of these, I guess I'll leave.
You leave.
And proceed toward the stairs.
And what did the rest of you do?
Remind me what else was interesting in here. So we've got the dining room with the stone chickens and such.
Yes.
We've got the blown up room here.
Yep.
Am I forgetting anything that we haven't deeply investigated yet?
I don't think so. You got the main big room. Nothing of interest there. You have the dining room.
We haven't gone through is the one at the top.
Yes, the one that had a gold knocker grasper thing on one door and a silver knocker grasper thing on the other. The gargoyles were investigated and determined that they were not alive and ready to eat your face.
Actually, I do want to go into the sitting room and look up the fireplace and see if that looks like it goes anywhere.
You can go in there. You can look up the fireplace. Are you using a light source to look up the fireplace?
Yeah, I've got my torch.
Okay. You see, looks like handholds sculpted out of the stone leading upward.
Oh.
You see splatters of blood, and you see bits of dirt and ash.
Oh. I relay this information to anyone who cares to listen. I ask Slash if you'd like to go up there. It looks climby.
Slash seems eager, but Slash is too big to fit up there.
Oh, Vesper?
Could I fit?
I think everybody except for Slash can fit up there.
Poor Slash.
Yeah, he's too beefy.
Chonk.
Indeed.
Yeah, I could try.
I hand her my torch, assuming she doesn't have her own light source.
Not at the moment, no.
Can you give me an athletics to get up there? It's tricky, but thankfully someone else seems to have molded you handholds.
How kind of them.
Do you see at the top of this chimneyway thing, let's say at the top, there's another hearth that you could exit out of. The chimneyway goes up further. What would you prefer to do?
Would it be possible to climb up there?
It does look like the handholds continue to rise.
Why are we drawing a room north of the sitting room?
Because I don't know how three-dimensional space works. It's above the sitting room.
Okay.
In the most technical of senses.
Well, I can try, and if it fails, it's not really that far of a drop, so...
So you're trying to climb further up the chimney?
Yay.
Alright. You're gonna keep going for quite a long ways. It'll go up for literal hours. And
Oh,
the
it's that
handholds
far?
will continue the entire time. At what point do you turn back? Or do you just keep going?
I could just keep going.
Alright, can you give me a Constitution saving throw, please? 3 of them in total.
Nice.
Very nice. You make it up to the top, and you poke your head out on the mountainside. You see the remnant of a camp with a little tent and an old fire and a little spring with bubbling water. You see a whole bunch of blackened, chimney sweep buildup, soot and tar, across the face of the mountain, directly across from where the chimney exhausts. You see no people.
Interesting.
And we are going to end there for today.
Alright.
For the next session, we'll figure out what you guys did whilst waiting for Vesper to come back from probably being gone forever.
That's a long time.
Vesper is no more.
Probably.
I can't believe Vesper died.
Did you leave the chimney? Just kind of poke your head out.
Well, after seeing it was all clear, I would have climbed out of it.
Also, how are you holding the torch?
Probably in her teeth.
Ugh. Like a pirate.
Vesper's got fire magic and stuff. Vesper's got a hat, probably. I don't know.
If she doesn't, she should have one.
Well, thank you all for playing. It was a fun
for
session
tailoring.
for me. I hope it was fun for you. And I will see you all next week.